Hello friends, Those Bag Pages here. I hope you're well. I want to thank you for tuning in tonight. If this is your first time here, I really appreciate you, and I appreciate you spending your time with me while I discuss various hobby topics. Today's topic is a topic that I have spoken about quite a bit recently, and actually I've been having a lot of private chatter about. So I figured I would, approach it again here on the channel. And that is Project 2020. TOPS Project 2020, I believe, is the full name of it. This started at the end of March, pretty much about 2 months ago right now, as of this recording. When it was started, it comes out, well, let me give a brief synopsis if you're not familiar with it. Every Monday through Friday, from now until the end of December, 2 cards will be released. 2 Monday, 2 Tuesday, 2 Wednesday, 2 Thursday, 2 Friday. The 2 cards, each 2-card release is available on tops.com for 48 hours. You can buy one for $19.99, free shipping. And then there's discounts for 5 packs and 10 packs. They also sell a dual pack of both cards for the day for $34.99. So when they started coming out, I was like, oh, that's interesting. I'm not really interested in spending $20 a card. Didn't really interest me. Me being a baseball card collector, when the Trout came out, I said to myself, what is that? That is horrible. That is almost disgusting. Why would anyone spend $20 on that? The 48-hour window passed, and the final production number on that, because as I said it is printed to order, was 2,911 copies. A couple days went by. It started going up. A couple days later it was $40-$50. And I started thinking to myself, I collect trout. I've had that one for about 6 years now, maybe a little longer. Didn't cost very much. I paid $50 for that. So, I pride myself on collecting my trout. And I said to myself, I've spent $20 on worse. That's pretty much one blaster. So I did some asking around. Wasn't really looking to pay. I think it was up around $60 or $75 at the time. I was like, you know what? I really don't want it that badly. And so I went ahead and, somebody at contact said, if I have an extra, I'll hook you up. And it wound up, he did have an extra. And I gave him, he's like, cost, whatever it is. I said, I gave him $30 because he did me a solid. Could have gave him 20, but I gave him 30. So I paid 30 for this. As of yesterday, I believe these are now in the $3,000 range. Yeah, that's not a typo in my voice. Then you see a lot of people say, well, what a waste. Why would I buy this when I can use the money and buy one of those? Fair point. But you see, I have one of those already. I didn't have one of these, but I had one of those. So, 2 a day kept coming out. And, I was picking out, I wasn't really, the first 17, well, I went back and got, this is number 4 in the set. Oh, there'll be 400 by the time the set is done. And I think as of today's releases, we're still under 90. So we've got a long way to go in this one. A long way to go. In this marathon, not a sprint, of collecting. So they kept coming out. I was like, that one's not bad looking, but not for $20. Oh, that one's horrible. I wouldn't buy that for $5. Oh, that one's worse. I wouldn't pay $2. The usual baseball card collecting person's rhetoric. Came up with a phrase that I've been using recently called hashtag baseball card goggles. We need to take off our baseball card goggles. The prices on these cards on the secondary market seem to be stupendously stupid when we're looking through our baseball card goggles. So the sets kept coming out, the cards kept coming out. Lo and behold, an artist joined Blowout Forums. His name is Blake Jameson. He started talking about his upcoming card. He was putting out a Nolan Ryan card from this set, which happens to be the 69 Topps card. And he was actually answering questions in a civilized, humanic, that's not even a word, human way. I was impressed by this. Led me to buy his Nolan Ryan card, which I've shown off in a previous episode. I did an unboxing. Because when you buy from Topps.com, you have a extremely small percentage chance of getting the one-of-one gold bordered card, where this is framed in a gold metallic frame, kind of like the Transcendent cards, or I think it's the 2014 Topps Gold Label cards. So when you buy from Topps.com, you have a very, very, very minute chance of getting the gold one-of-one. And you have a almost 100% chance of getting the card itself from Topps, the card itself from Topps.com. Because what's been going on now, the way these have taken off, price-wise, we've got a extremely hot secondary market on eBay, which is essentially trading hands for stuff that hasn't even been printed yet alone in the seller's hands. That's beyond me. I don't understand. I understand why stuff, if there's something is very hot, low print run, etc., whatever it might be, pricing increases. What I don't understand is buying from someone you don't know, giving them, let's use a round number of $30 for a pre-sale, and then the thing takes off. By the time it's printed and delivered to the seller, it's currently selling for $500. Now, if you're a scrupulous seller, would you, honor the $30 sale or take the negative and sell it for $500? Unfortunately, most people would, oh, sorry, it got damaged, lost. I'm not going to be able to send it to you. Here's your $30 back. And since these are not numbered, then he'll just sell it to someone else. And that's the downside of greed and ugly. So, baseball card goggles. Topps Project 2020 and baseball card goggles. if you remove your baseball card goggles, you will see that these cards are a very small percentage baseball cards and a very large percentage art. So don't look at this as a abomination of the 2011 card that it is honoring or emulating, if you want to put it that way. You know, the cards have the basic card back, this, which you all know what it looks like, and then the Project 2020 has a back like this, which tells you what the original card is, what about the project, and then a little bit about the artist himself or herself, themselves. So, baseball card goggles. Remove them and enjoy yourself. So as I mentioned earlier, we're in the 80s as far as card numbers. 2 per day, Monday through Friday. 400 in the set. So we've got more than 75% of the set to go. If you're stumbling upon my channel and or the project itself, and something like Ermsey, the artist who made this trout, interests you, good news and bad news. The good news is Ermsey still has 15 cards to be released. The bad news is his first 5 cards are very expensive, or costly. Not rare, costly. You could debate if this one's rare or not. It's costly. No one's going to argue that point for most of us out there. So, the good news is he's got 15 left, and they're coming out from Topps.com for $19.99. You've got 48 hours when they announce that card is out to buy your copy. There are sellers on eBay that will sell you a copy for upwards of down cheap as I think $17.25, something like that. But again, you're risking them not sending it if it explodes. So, in my opinion, the $2 or $3 difference for peace of mind and the extremely small shot at getting the gold kind of outweighs the desire to save the $2 or $3. But again, if you're buying a lot of them, if you're collecting it, that's up to you as an individual how you want to go about that. And that's just my advice on that topic. Now, so we've got 75% of the way to go. I found a lot of people, who have removed their have removed their baseball card goggles, seem to enjoy these cards. And it brings them joy to collect these. So part of that good news is you've got 15 cards left to collect of that player or artist. Just rounding it off, some have less. I don't think anyone has 6 yet. So you've got plenty of time to catch up. Well, I'm sorry. You've got plenty of time to enjoy the remaining cards coming out. Now, when we get to the end of the set, and if this set is a, burn it to the ground, it sucks, total bomb, then the good news is you'll be able to go back and get those 5 that you're missing, or however many you decide you'd like to collect because you enjoy collecting. And if the set goes on to bigger and better things, as I believe it will, the good news is you have 75% of the set at suggested retail price. And there'll be some might be worth quite a bit more than $19.99. Now, as this gets more popular, more get produced. Obviously, supply and demand comes into it. but even that to an extent, as we've seen, oh my goodness, there's so many of these PSA 10s in existence. It doesn't matter. People want it. One of the cards I'm about to show in today's mail kind of, I don't know if personifies is the right word, but this is from, this came in today from Topps.com. I ordered this probably, at least 3 weeks ago now. This should be the Ben Bowler, Mike Trout card. So, let's see, I have that extremely, it has, the 1 of 1 has not been discovered as of the best of my knowledge. So, let's go ahead and, there's the receipt, 1 copy. It comes, and now you can see if you order 1, it comes in like this. See my couple previous episodes. If you order quantity, it'll come in a FedEx box. This was just mailed regular post office. So these are not sealed in any way. So if you are buying these on the secondary market, even in a pre-order, you will not get the gold card, because the seller who's selling you, pre-selling you this card, is first they're going to make sure it's the actual card that it's supposed to be inside from Topps, and then if it is, they're certainly not going to give you the gold. So let's take a look. It's probably the regular. It is, and unfortunately, due to the, it's kind of a catch-22 that it's a beautiful, it's 130 point stock. It's a beautiful looking card. I mean, it's not, you know, it's not refractory or embedded with anything, but it's still a nice looking card. Now, the issue, which was discovered, well, I don't think I discovered it, but I pointed it out on Topps, and, you know, there was a heavy discussion that went on about it. And you'll see in a second when I show you the Ermsey. Here's the Ermsey. Here's the Baller. It's probably picking it up right away. You know, this isn't a Ultra Pro, no, it's a BCW One Touch. This is in some glorified snap tight with no magnetic. I do not believe there's anything under here. I think it's just for show. It snaps tight on the side. This is like an old, I've never owned one of these before, but it looks like it's an old school snap tight. I'm very unhappy about that. But again, what are you gonna do? We're in the middle of a pandemic, and by the way, the print run on this was 2,911, and the print run on this was just shy of 35,000. That's right, just shy of 35,000. So, and again, this cost $19.99. This cost $19.99. You had 48 hours to order as many as you wanted. Now, this happens to be, in my opinion, a very sharp-looking card. So, the initial reaction when this came out, it's like, oh, that's going to sell a lot of copies. You're darn right it did. And then the second reaction that most people wearing their baseball card goggles had was, well, that's gonna tank. That's gonna, anyone who's selling that is gonna lose money. They just made way too many. And, like I said, it came out about, I think it was the first week of this month. Probably should have looked that up. And you know what? Initially, they were right. They were, selling for in the mid-20s, $25, $30. which is still isn't horrible because it was 20 from Topps. And then as cheap as 14.44 if you bought 10. There's no discount higher than 10. You can buy as many copies as you want in quantities of 10, but there's nothing cheaper than that price. So, it sat in the mid-20s for probably a couple of days. Then it went up into the mid-30s. Then it started to rise. And now, as of yesterday, they are in the $200 area. So yes, 35,000 made still does not matter. Take off your baseball card goggles. The market for these is obviously it has something to do with baseball cards, but when Ben Baller, who made this card, has, I think, 1.2 million followers on Twitter. 1.2 million followers. 35,000 copies is not a lot. And yes, he has the Michael Jackson gloves on. I recommend you read up on that. 35,000 copies, still $200 and rising as of this recording. So take off your baseball card goggles. You can still enjoy this set. You're not going to get rich from anything card related, let's be realistic. But if you want to, there's a card out right now on Topps.com by Keith Shore, who is a very popular artist, and when most baseball card goggle wearers see his work, oh, that's a joke. My 6-year-old can do that. Some kindergarten kid could draw that, etc., etc. Well, they didn't, and he does. And he's art famous, and you're not. Anyway, his Ken Griffey Jr. 89 Topps Traded rookie is available on Topps.com right now as you're watching this for $19.99. If you're watching this after tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern, if you're watching this after tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern, or today, depending on when I release this, Wednesday, you're going to be paying more than $19.99. You'll probably find some pre-orders for $24.99, and by the time it ships and the seller who pre-sold it to you gets it in hand, you better pray it's not $200 and he decides he doesn't want to send it to you. He'd just take the negative and sell it to someone else. So there are big things coming for this project, even now. Even as we're still under 25% of the way done, there are still big things coming. Do I expect to see any more cards for 4 figures? No, I do not. I may be wrong. I've been wrong before. I may be wrong about this whole thing. So, I decided I passed on the first 3 good ends because they were either ugly or just didn't impress me for $20. Well, the first good one is now like $3,000. It's the lowest print run of 1,065 in the entire run, and will certainly not be anything lower than that. So I missed it. I'll live. I will still collect Gooden. I started with number 4 with Mr. Cartoon. Paid $20. I passed on that after the window expired, and I was able to get one from Twins Jake, who I've dealt with a lot, for $20. And I believe they're now $150 or whatnot. I don't know. And I'm not worried about it arriving. He's not going to bend me over. Now, the 3 players you see in front of you they're there for a reason. Obviously, I got this Trout in today, so I wanted to show that off. Initially, when the Jeter was announced as being this Jeter, which in my opinion is not extremely iconic and probably is definitely not in his top 2 of rookie cards, in my opinion, SP being the best, Stadium being number 2. You could argue between Pinnacle that card and maybe even Select as being his third best. But, that's his Topps rookie. This is a Topps project, which is why Mantle is not in it, because Panini owns Mickey Mantle. There's also why they have chosen the 1987 McGwire over the 1985 McGwire, because Panini owns USA. So, all right, we'll go in that order. Why not? Doesn't really matter. I'm just happy to discuss this topic. If you have questions, always ask, because we are all always learning. So the cards kept coming out two a day, and like everyone else, I checked the website. It's like, oh, that's an easy pass. Oh, I like that one. There was one card that, I was like, oh, hemming and hawing and thinking about it, and the window closed, and I let it go. And that would be Gregory Siff's 1982 Topps traded Cal Ripken. So I let it go, and it went up to 50. It's like, I'm not paying 50 for any of these cards. I've never paid more than 30. I'm not paying 50. That's just me. We're all happy with what we are happy with, and that was just for me. Climbed up to 80. Climbed up to 100. And it's like, oh, well, that's too bad. I'm not gonna own that card, and I'm all right with it. I saw one of my friends on social media say, hey, I just got a 10-pack of these in. I think he said I got a bunch of these in. I quote him if it was a 10-pack. He probably got a 10-pack. So I messaged him privately. I said, hey, if you're going to, if you're ever going to move any of those, because I know he sells on eBay, and if you're ever going to move any of that SIF, let me know. I'd be interested, depending on the price. And, he's a friend of mine, so I didn't mind spending more than I've ever spent before. And he goes, well, he says to me, he says, how many you need? And I said, oh, just one. It's just for my collection. He goes, I was hoping you'd say that. What's your address? So he didn't have it, so I sent it to him. And I said, well, what's your PayPal address? And he said, bro. And that was the end of the conversation. He refused to take any payment for this. So I won't name him, but I thank him very much. So he nailed it out on Friday, and here we are after the holiday. Let's take a look. And there it is. This thing is just mesmerizing. I know. And this is in a no-name One Touch. See, and it feels thicker. So it has some heft to it. So there you see the back, Gregory Siff. I want to say the print run on these is like 2,600. I'm not exactly sure. And I probably should have gotten this out, but I did not. But this thing is just mesmerizing. It's his own take on the 82 Topps traded Ripken, which is essential if you're collecting baseball card rookies. And again, most people, some of you guys watching this now, that's disgusting. That's horrible looking. That's embarrassing. It's insulting. Every other word you can throw at it while you're wearing your baseball card goggles. Now, when I look at this card now, I think of one thing. And I've shown it off a long time ago. I should have taken one out for the purposes of this episode, but I think of Bill Sienkiewicz and his New Mutants covers. I think it was 19 specifically, but if you know who Bill Sienkiewicz is, you'll understand what I'm talking about. So thank you, sir, for helping me add that to my collection. It is very much appreciated, and I want to say this was about $80 on Friday when he sent it to me, and it's probably like $300 now or something silly like that. So, got one more to show you. At first I thought he sent it to me in this, which made me laugh, but it wasn't. It wasn't. It kind of cracked me up that an eBay seller would send something like that. But hey, as long as it's what I paid for, the packaging is of little consequence. So the set marched on. I bought the first Jeter, which I've shown off. The fourth Jeter just came out over the end of last week. Andrew Thiel. I apologize for pronouncing his name wrong, but I ordered that from Topps. So there were 2 I was missing. Now the one I missed is very expensive now, and I won this one at an auction for $21.50. And the one I'm missing now is hundreds of dollars. And again, as a collector, we have to realize we cannot have everything. I'll own it eventually. I'm not worried. I mean, I've been a very big fan of Blake Jameson since it started, and I've got multiple copies of his cards. So I can always try to trade and get the ones I'm missing. That's the beauty of the hobby. So this is a Derek Jeter by Matt Taylor. This will be my first Matt Taylor card. He did a Ricky Henderson that looks very good, but again, I think I don't want to spend $20. So hindsight is always 20/20. There he's got his own sticker on it telling you what it is inside. So he's ruined the bubble mailer, the bubble wrap. Oh, and no joke, even these boxes are selling for stupid. Oh man, I want to say $10 or something stupid. Like, I don't know why anyone would buy an empty box when you can just buy the whole card from Topps for $20. But here it is. It's not overwhelming. It's not horrible. But it doesn't knock you over. And it doesn't knock me over. Again, art is so subjective, it might knock you over. You know, his Ricky looks like this. It looks like Tron. I should have bought the Ricky. It's not $20 anymore. I don't know how much it is. I tend not to look at the prices. There's plenty of chatter on the message boards about pricing. So I'm proud to add this to the collection, and I'll probably be collecting Jeter the rest of the way through. Because again, you know, he's got I think he's only got 4 outs. He's got 16 more coming. You know, they'll all be available at retail price. So I'll just try to keep collecting them that way and enjoy them for what they are. Now you kind of see why I set up the background like that. And again, take off your baseball card goggles. Realize that the art world is a lot more popular than the baseball card world. And think about this. If you own some of these, show them to your significant other or friends or other people that you know that have no interest in baseball cards whatsoever. You might be surprised by their reaction. Thank you for tuning in to tonight's episode. I am very appreciative of you spending your time with me telling my stories and things. Remember to always be kind, keep learning, share your knowledge, and cherish your collection.